Alright guys, just got out of seeing Dark Skies. Not sure what to say about Dark Skies. Not really much to the story other than there's a family, husband, wife, and their 2 kids. Both boys, one older, one younger, obviously. A lot of weird crap starts happening around their house, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. And it starts off leading like a paranormal activity type of thing where you think it's going to be a ghost, and then, in case you couldn't tell by the trailers, it turns out to be aliens. And yeah, that's about it. Jesus, where to start with it? Yeah, so it starts off, the older boy's out with a friend of his who's a couple years older. They're watching porn. The father calls him, tells him, you need to come home. We're having guests over tonight. There's another girl with the other family that kind of likes the older boy. Later on in the movie, the girl and another girl come over to this place that the boys hang out, which is an empty house. The mother's a real estate agent, so they go to one of her show houses, and they're hanging out, drinking, and yeah, the boy tries to feel up the girl like what they saw in the porno, and she freaks out, but that's kind of way into the movie. She basically freaks out and kind of like says, "Ew, what are you doing?" And then turns out she still likes him anyway, so they kiss. But that's about as far as that goes. So yeah, they're watching the porn. The dad tells them to come home. They have the barbecue. That night, the mother gets up for no reason. She just kind of wakes up, goes downstairs, and the door's open, and there's a bunch of food in the spilled out on the floor from the refrigerator. So they think someone came in, or like an animal came in or something, which it probably would have had to be a person, otherwise how'd the door get open? So they install a security alarm. The next night, she gets up again. This time she goes down, and all the canned goods and pots and pans and stuff are stacked up on the counter. Kind of in a weird geometric pattern. So that kind of freaks her out. They check with the security company, nothing triggered, all the doors were locked, so they start to say maybe it was someone in the house. Then the next night, the alarm goes off. They get up and go running around trying to see what's going on, and there's nothing going on. The alarm company says it looks like all 8 of the entry points that are on the alarm system all went off at the same time. It's probably just a glitch in the system. And then, like, all the photos in the house are out of their frames. They're all gone. Just a bunch of empty frames. So, again, what the hell's going on? Then, the next night, the younger son, the mother hears him talking, and the 2 boys talk on walkie-talkies from their rooms. I don't know why, but yeah, so she hears the younger boy talking, and she thinks that, they're still playing around on walkie-talkies, and she goes in to tell him to go to sleep. And as she turns on the light, she sees something standing there, and then it's gone, and her son's gone. He's not in the bed. So there, she gets the husband up. She goes, he's missing. There was something in his room. They go around looking for him. Turns out he's outside. So they go out and grab him, and he kind of wakes up like he was sleepwalking and goes, why are we outside? So they go back in. The next night, something similar, I think it was the next night, something similar happens with the husband. She wakes up, he's not in bed, she goes looking for him, and he's standing outside, and she goes up to talk to him, and he's just kind of sitting there with his mouth wide open, like he's in shock about something, and then, like, a bunch of blood starts pouring out of his nose, And she's freaking out, and he just turns around and walks back inside, so she goes in after him, and he's just standing in the kitchen, and he goes, "Why am I in the kitchen?" So she starts looking into some stuff. He puts cameras in the house, trying to see what's going on. Actually, I think he put the cameras in the house. No. Yeah, it was after that he put the cameras in the house. But, so she starts looking up stuff online and finds out that a lot of other people have experienced similar things, and she tries to tell her husband. He goes, "This is crazy," that type of thing. Then she's off showing a house, and in the middle of talking, she stops, turns, walks over to the sliding glass door, and starts banging her head against the window until it cracks. Then it cuts to her being in bed, and she gets up thinking, I was having a bad dream or something, but then she gets up and she's got a bruise on her head, and there's a call from her boss saying that the people said that she had some type of a freak out, and he was ordering her to take some time off, and so on and so forth. So something else happened to where the husband finally he was looking at the security footage, and at certain points the screen goes out, like it distorts. So he goes trying to investigate that. There's nothing there. So at one point he's going through like frame by frame by frame, and then he stops at the distortion, and he kind of sees the alien figures. So then he tells his wife, "I'm ready to listen to what you had to say." They go to talk to the supposed expert. He tells them basically what's going on, that even though you're just now seeing it, they've been around for a while, they've been watching you, they want something. And, there's other people that have gone through it. Most of them either accept it or try to find a way to fight it. So they're like, "Well, how can we fight it?" And he says, "Well, you got to bring your family together, keep everyone close," so on and so forth. So the dad starts preparing for a battle, I guess. He boards up all the windows in the house, goes out and buys a couple guns. The older son comes home, and he sees that everyone in the neighborhood's kind of looking at him like, "What the hell's going on with these people?" At one point, something happens to the older son, and he thinks that the older friend gave him some type of drugs or did something to him, so he goes over and attacks him. So that's why they're kind of on the outs with the neighbors, because they're starting to get weird. At another point, the younger son has bruises all over his body, so social services gets involved because one of the other neighbors saw the bruises because they were watching him for the day. So there's different things going on to where they're on the outs with the neighbors, and the dad's boarding up the windows and stuff, and the older boy kind of freaks out, and he's like, "Why can't we just be normal? You're making us look bad to everyone." Kind of takes off. He goes over to the house, the show house again, and the girl who likes him shows up, and, she's kind of like, "I've known your dad a long time, and I've never known him to be crazy, so whatever's going on, he probably has a reason for it." So he's like, "Yeah, you're right." They kiss again. Then the boy goes back to the house, and he's like, "We obviously, we have to stay together, right?" The dad says, "Yeah." So they go inside. They're having dinner. I think it's 4th of July, so they're talking about the earliest 4th of Julys that the boys remember, because they can't go outside to watch the fireworks. And as they're doing that, I think they had the TV on. The TV starts to flicker. Then there's lights outside, and they're like, "Oh, this is it," So they're running around the house trying to hide from the aliens. And eventually, it looks like a bunch of stuff happened, and it turns out that it was all in the older son's imagination. And then the aliens take the person that they were going after, which throughout the movie they lead you to believe it's going to be the younger son, because the professional guy says it's going to be one of your children, whichever one they came into contact with first. And at the beginning of the movie, the first one that you see they had contact with was the younger son. so everyone thinks it's going to be him. Leads up, you find out that they've actually been in contact with the older son since he was a baby. So he's the one that they're after. So after he imagines a bunch of stuff, he snaps back to reality, and then he turns towards his parents and sees them there, and he's like, "What's going on?" And then he turns around, and the aliens grab him, and they disappear. So they move out of the house. They get a small apartment, kind of get out of the neighborhood. And as they're unpacking some stuff, the younger boy's digging through the box and finds the walkie-talkie. Because I think he hears it making static or something, if I remember right. So he pulls it out, and he calls to his brother on it, and you hear some more static, and then you hear his brother's voice call back to him, and then it's credits. So that's kind of the movie. Again, if you weren't looking to spoilers, you should know my videos by now and know when to jump ahead. So that's the movie. Overall, it kept me entertained, I guess. It wasn't unwatchable. The aliens were genuinely creepy. The majority of the movie wasn't scary. It was just kind of like, oh, that was weird, and you're trying to figure out what's going on. At one point, it does become really obvious what's going on, and that's about the point when they start telling you, oh, it's this and this and this, and explain things in the movie. So, the pacing on it's pretty good. There's not really a lot of jump scares. I think the biggest jump scare was probably when the alarm went off randomly, because you're like, whoa, it's mostly just because it was loud. It wasn't like anything there. There was a genuinely creepy moment in it when with the aliens, when they finally show them, because the mother walks into the room and turns and is just standing there, and they do look kind of creepy. That was more or less a jump scare. Then at another point later on, when they're finally fighting off the aliens, the mother's walking down the hallway and the lights are kind of flickering quickly on and off. Not so much like a strobe, but kind of like flash, 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 flash type of thing. And at one point, she's walking down the hall, and there's the flicker of the lights, and then the alien's just standing behind her. That was kind of a, whoa, where'd he come from type of moment. That was kind of creepy. I like that. Yeah, that's about it, though. It's along the lines of the Paranormal Activity movies, where it just kind of keeps you like, oh, what's going on, trying to figure things out. But it's not found footage, which is good. I think the found footage stuff has been overdone lately. So, as far as my star rating, I would probably give this one, I almost want to say a 2.5, but again, I like it slightly better than the other movies I've given a 2.5. Like, I like this one better than The Call, just because it kept me more... Well, The Call kept me entertained up until the ending. This one kept me entertained most of the way through. I mean, it did get predictable at one point, but like I said, that's when they're kind of already explaining stuff to you in the movie anyway. I called the ending about midway through. I was like, yeah, it's going to end up being the other boy. So I almost want to say 2.5, but I kind of want to push more towards 3, but not really. I don't want to say 2 3/4 stars, so we'll go 2.5 on this one. But it had potential to be a strong 3. Just, little aspects of it didn't hurt it, but kind of hurt the rating, I guess I could say. So that's my review of Dark Skies. Not sure what I'm going to get to see next, but I will be back soon with another review. Until then, thanks for watching, and see you at the movies.